It's pause the thought, Doc. If you pause the thought, Doc.
Yeah.
Right, good evening ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:30 so we'll get on with the meeting. First item I have to say is the meeting's being filmed. Anybody who doesn't want to appear on the film should sit on chairs on that side. So if anybody doesn't want to be on the record. So the next item is prayers, and Peter's going to lead us in prayers.
As we meet this evening, in the 125th year of our Parish Council, we think of all those who have been privileged to do the work we are now doing, with the wonderful cooperation they and we have built up over this time in the area and in the county, and of the strong ties we have that have been built, of our friendships and cooperation with others. And we thank you too for our traditions. May we hope these traditions will be of benefit to some of our newer members, and may they continue in the efforts of those who have gone before. In the words of the lovely Maggie, where there is discord, let there be harmony. Yet we know, O Lord, of so many and ordinary folk in the wider area who have done and are doing extraordinary things to help the daily lives of our parishioners without thought of praise or self-gratification or even self-acclaim. How wonderful that is, how pleased we should be that such folk live on and are among us. We think tonight especially of one of those who used to be a member of this council and a former chairman of it, who is sadly hospitalised at the moment and has gone blind, and who I do not name because regrettably the prayer is probably being broadcast and his family needs our discretion at this difficult moment. Be with them, O Lord, we pray, and bring some comfort, if possible, into their lives. Amen.
Amen. Got apologies from absence from Councillor Cobb, Councillor Dales, Councillor Lawley, and Councillor Jim Perkins from Hayfield and DCC. Declarations of interest, please.
I declare an interest in the tender process for the sale of the Leys land, as I have a friend who will probably bid if that sale takes place. However, I intend to talk later about the process by which allotment status was removed from the Leys Allotments, and I feel I can discuss this with impartiality.
Councillor Sisley.
Leys Allotment is a Jovian landowner. Also, my wife is a substitute councillor on Hayfield Development Control Committee.
All that's related to Chapel-en-le-Frith, senior, junior, football clubs.
Leys Allotments, if somebody was interested
in first item is the co-option to Chapel-en-le-Frith vacancy, and we've got our candidate here, Mrs. Patricia Green. Would you like to come up to the end of the table? I know you're nervous, don't you? And just do a little synopsis of what you told us the other day, which was very enlightening. So, over to you, please.
My name is Patricia Green, 42 years old, mother of two. Originally from Chapel, 5 years ago I moved back here. Working both in care homes and out in the community has opened my eyes a little bit to things I feel could be improved or so yeah. I'm hard-working, enthusiastic, and feel that I could be an asset to the Parish Council. and I would love to have the opportunity to work with you all, working together to make the parish better than it is.
Thank you very much. We did have another candidate who wasn't able to come for either of the interview slots that we gave him, so I'd like to take a vote now on this. He's still interested. So we'll include him then. And he's called Jim Lambert, and I think he stood for a borough councillor at the last election. So we go for Mrs. Green first.
Point to order. Again, I'd like to make my objections to the process by which we're doing this. Jim Lambert in particular is a party political candidate, and I feel like I've had no opportunity to question him on, whether he signs up to the full Labour Party local manifesto, what his position is on raising local taxes, anything.
Yeah, well, he said he would like to be considered, so we'll consider him. So I'd like to, yeah.
Can I ask a question? How does Councillor Gurley know that he's a political candidate?
He stood at the borough elections for the Labour Party.
Oh, that doesn't mean he's doesn't mean anything.
So, yeah, I'd like to move on to a vote. So all those in favour of Mrs. Green joining the Parish Council, I'd vote now. Yeah. And all those against? None. 1, 4. So Mrs. Green's got 5 votes. And anybody would like to vote for Mr. Jim Lambert? 4. All those against Mr. Jim Lambert? So Mrs. Green has been elected to join the Parish Council, so congratulations on that. If you want to be a glutton for punishment, you can stay the whole meeting. Right. Yeah, okay.
Sit back down.
Thanks very much. I've got the next item.
Chair, I feel quite aggrieved there that I've not actually had the opportunity to speak to Jim Lambert. I'd like to add something.
I noticed had the opportunity to Jim Lambert, speak to Jim Lambert because he's not made himself available to speak to.
He was invited tonight.
Yeah, he was invited tonight where he could have spoken to him, but again, he's not been able to come.
Perhaps he's not able to make tonight.
Well, he's been offered other slots as well, so he's not come for either of the slots that we
We had
gave
2.5
him.
weeks notice for the first one. And
And we gave him exactly the same accommodation as we did to one of the Dove Holes candidates who was unable to come. So he's had exactly the same fair and equitable treatment as the other candidate. So I think that the council has acted properly in terms of that. So
Mrs. Green did make it clear to us that she wasn't a member of any.
yeah, she's got no political affiliations whatsoever.
That's after the vote, Chair, yeah?
Well, if you come to the interview, you'd have known that because that question was asked.
Maybe I couldn't have made the interview either,
Well,
Chair. I like that, Chair, if that's okay.
Well, we can't hold meetings special.
no, you can't, yeah. So anyway, move on to police matters. We're still waiting for the crimes figures for August. So we'll let you have that. And again, the PCSO has indicated she's not coming tonight. And she's going to be writing to the Parish Council, we understand. So open forum, I don't think I've got anybody.
I think there's...
Would you like to go to the table? And what can I ask what you're speaking about?
Leys Allotments.
Right.
So, my name is Tim Boothman, for those of you who don't know me, I think most of you do. To just fill you in, I was the last person to be, well, I actually was evicted from the Leys Allotments in March 2018. To give you a little bit of background, I was informed that the Leys Allotments was a temporary allotment site and I could be evicted at any time, so this is going back to 2010, 2012, round about that time. I at that time knew nothing of the Allotments Act of 1922 and to be honest, I didn't really mind because I just wanted a bit of land to play around with. So we went on every year, and there were some vegetables. Children enjoyed it year after year after year. But as the years went on, the people on it got less until there was actually the last one left. And sadly, in October 2017, I received a letter from the Parish Council saying that they were not going to renew the lease until March 2018. Now I, as a citizen of this parish, took that as being lawful because I trusted the Parish Council, as you would trust me if anybody that comes to propose this. However, having looked at the Allotments Act of 1922, I don't think that that was legitimate to call it a temporary site. The way that I understand it is that the land which belongs to the parish should be offered to the community as allotments, and I, at this current time, don't know how you would actually go about getting an allotment on the Leys. Right? I don't think it's been offered, but maybe you could fill in on that at a later time. I was very surprised to see a submission to the Secretary of State for the removal of allotment status by this Parish Council. And part of that submission said that the actual land had been left fallow since 2012. That is actually factually incorrect. I have photographs of myself, my children, my wife, readily away cultivating that land in 2013, 14, 15, 16 and 17. So, would the Secretary of State have actually removed the allotment status if it had known that actually someone was on it? Actually, so since learned that basically it is the wish of this Parish Council to sell the land for development. Not only that, there are people on this Parish Council that have expressed a wish to purchase it, or people indirectly on this Parish Council that have expressed a wish. This is all.
So I'll give you an extra 30 seconds just to wind up, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. The way that I see it, yes, and the Secretary of State has actually removed the allotment status from half the site. So in other words, as we speak here and now, right, there is half of it that is still allotment status. So I would like to know is, why is the Parish Council not advertising the fact for someone to take an allotment? Bearing in mind that this parish has changed over the last 5 years. There's probably 1,000 new houses, and a lot of them not got large gardens. How does this Parish Council know that people don't want an allotment on the Leys?
Right, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Boothman. Right, Councillor Gourlay.
Through the chair, could I ask Mr. Boothman whether, if we changed our mind about the allotment, whether he would take an allotment and cultivate the land?
Absolutely.
Councillor Gourlay.
Can I ask an additional question? In the past, I understand that Mr. Boothman has used a sort of mini tractor to mow the old tramway to get access to the allotments. Would he, not giving any massive undertakings, but would he help out with other allotments?
Certainly would, yeah.
Well, providing we see your liability insurance before we carry out any work.
So,
Any other questions?
yeah,
Councillor
one more
Baxter?
question, just a couple of factual things. The allotment status has not been lifted
No.
because there are conditions attached to it that if and when it is sold or disposed
Oh,
of,
yeah.
a similar number of allotments will be
Provided as there before, yeah.
and they will fact be improved. They'll have a water supply and a road if it ever
And
happens.
parking spaces.
And they're actually not sold for development. The proposal was that because it was zoned employment zone, the council were trying to free up land for employment. And at the time, there were plenty of other allotments available within the parish. Nobody was being deprived of anything.
Well, Councillor Gourlay.
Well, I'd like to counter Councillor Batterby's assertion that this is not a removal of the allotment status. It's clear from the response from the Secretary of State that the allotment status has been removed from half the area of land.
Provided that the additional land is used for allotments. That is the proviso. Nobody's going to sell anything anyway. You've got to have a buyer for it, and there are no buyers for it at the moment.
We've gone from a large allotment to a half size of that allotment.
Well, actually, there were 16 allotments on that site. There was one very large allotment, and there were 15 others. And when we redevelop, if it ever gets redeveloped, there will be 15 allotments again. So there's hardly any detriment, as one person took over quite a lot. Councillor Sizeland.
Can I ask who told the Secretary of State this, in fact, incorrect?
I don't know, I wasn't the council at the time, so I don't know. Who?
Sorry, in the submission.
Yes.
The submission went to the council.
So
No, who signed it?
Well, the council approved it, so it's the council's collective responsibility.
Responsibility.
Right, somebody must have signed it.
Councillor Rd.
Chair, just on the Leys themselves, so in recent conversations, I've heard suggestions now that this land might not be sold, but we have potentially 15 allotments there that could be used, that are not being used, and could be sold. They might never be used. It just becomes a waste of land there. So in the meantime, you know, can we get these on there?
Yeah, we've got an agenda item, so we can thrash all these items out as part of the agenda item. Councillor Gore.
I want to make it clear that I never saw the allotments, the application form to remove the allotment status until I issued a Freedom of Information request.
Well, things happened on the council before you joined it. We go back far enough.
But the application happened, the final application happened, the one which was successful, while I was a councillor, and I never saw that application.
We had to have a call out the minutes of when it was okay, when they saw that podcast thing. And
So
when
you
they
don't blame me, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, obviously these concerns, we need to thrash them out.
Everything that went with the application, the people on the council had it before it went, everybody had it. And there's a part 2 minute that...
That's why it's never been spoken about.
Were you at that meeting when you saw that application form and it was discussed in part 2?
It was discussed in part 2 and not discussed outside of these 4 walls, and it was a part 2 discussion because it's sensitive, because money is involved and liabilities and everything, and that was that. So it was not spoken about in the public domain.
As I remember it, Councillor Gore never attended part 2 of the council.
I did not attend from December 2018 onwards. Now, in fact, it was from January 29 onwards. But the Secretary of State granted this application before then. And I'm saying again that I and other councillors have not seen the application form that was submitted. If I had, I would have raised the issue that there are factual inaccuracies in that.
I wasn't the council at the time, so I can't speak about it, but from what we're being told by Councillor Young is that it went before the full council as a part 2 item and was approved.
Can I just also say, before it went to the Secretary of State, there was 2 people who wished to purchase half the land and develop half the land, and they would have developed the second half of the land with a road and a car park and the 15 sites like you have said, and that was also submitted at the time because there was other people who do it. So it is a benefit to remove the status from one half to actually upgrade and build the other half, as Councillor Battery said, with water as well as a road and a car park. So there was nothing wrong with how it was written and how it was sent in, and there were actually designs of the 2 ways of doing it that were sent in.
Chairman, if I remember rightly, and I had nothing to do with this at the time, although I can testify that when I've ever walked out there, it looked as if it had never been used. There was a piggery at one stage, because somebody operated a piggery on part of that. And of course, you know, the carnival, what is down there, the carnival garage. So I've been down there. But what I do know is that this item was taken in part 2, and the fact that it was going to be taken was shown on the agenda.
If it was taken in part 2, the decision will appear in the part 2 minutes.
It will.
Correct.
So that's straightforward.
And didn't that part 2 discussion was also...
It won't show you that, it won't show you
Staying.
any details, but it will tell you that it was approved.
Councillor?
Can I just ask you, on that part 2, when you said that there was 2 interested parties about buying the land, and did they actually show you plans?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
There were plans drawn.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Right, in terms of, Mr Boothman, in terms of what you said tonight, we'll look into the matter you've raised and we'll respond to you. And that will also bring that response back to the next council meeting.
Right, thank you very much.
Right. So
Can I declare, by the way, that his wife did speak to me? She does sometimes when I go home from the medication.
Well, that's a particular issue.
Yeah.
Next item is MP, County Councillor and Council. County Councillor Perkins can't be here tonight.
Can I just, regarding the county councillors, probably most of you know that Alison Fox, who comes to meetings sometimes, and is in, she's the county councillor for part of our Chapel Parish. It's not very well at all, and I think we should send a card and flowers. I don't know what name.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I replicate that for another member? A fairly recent chairman, whose name I won't mention.
Yeah.
I don't think we normally send flowers, do we? We send a card.
Send a card.
Yeah, send a card. I think Chinley is sending flowers, aren't they?
Yes, they are sending
Yes.
flowers at my request.
Yeah, well, if you want flowers, we'll have a whip round after the meeting.
Sure.
Excuse me, Chair. I did have some questions for Councillor Perkins, what he is abducted.
I think that's the wrong expression to use. Councillor Perkins is on holiday.
Oh, right, okay.
So ducking it and being on holiday are two different things.
Oh, okay, so that's 3 out of the last 4 months, so I've not been able to speak to Councillor Perkins, Chair. Can I address them to you, or should I say them for Councillor Perkins?
Can I just say something on that? Because I knew Councillor Perkins was on holiday, and he has asked that if there's any questions, as you just said, Councillor said, that they either are addressed through the clerk so that she can either email them to him or to his secretary to deal with in his absence, or can you email him direct, whichever you find.
Whichever you choose to do. Then
Thank you very much.
Would you like to go through the clerk?
Your choice.
We're quite happy to field them, and
Okay.
and the clerk will respond to all councillors on the reply.
Because he does have a secretary at Matlock that will deal with things that Sue can send things through to. So.
Councillor Gourlay.
Can I just raise a Derbyshire County Council matter that I would have raised? And that's library opening hours. I've had some communication from neighbours about the Monday afternoons, which seem to have dropped out of the library. I wanted to know from the Derbyshire County Council what was the reason for it.
They did a consultation, didn't they?
Well, there was a public consultation, wasn't it? So as well, they did a public consultation on usage of the library, and they've got to make some savings, and as a result of the consultation, I think it's Monday afternoon has been dropped.
I think we're one of the few libraries.
Councillor Young,
The other part to that was as well, when they did do the consultation, they took into account the footfall that came into the libraries at certain times to keep, i.e., like we know Thursday is a busy one because it's market day and people are about, they kept the Thursdays open, whereas say must be Monday afternoon was a quiet time, so that's how they worked out which was the times to cut back on the hours. But we are fortunate that ours is open, other people have lost theirs altogether.
Councillor Batterby and then Councillor.
Yes, we are fortunate it's still open, because if you've actually read the results of the survey, it's quite surprising that supposedly the use of Chapel Library was a lot heavier than most. It may well have been that the counter on the door opens when anybody goes upstairs or goes into the parish office and not necessarily into the library. So I'll shut up about it, otherwise we might lose the whole thing
Yeah.
with the county.
So yeah, so a lot of the visitors might be ghost visitors just walking
Yeah.
past the door.
every time you go
in there,
It's a question for Councillor Young. I've been approached by some people off Long Lane that live in Rosebay Gardens about the said park that's supposed to be built for them. Have you any updates of the
Have you heard about there's supposed to be some section 106?
Yeah, on 106.
There is 106 money that has been attributed to the bill, but there was to be no park on the site.
Right.
The money is meant to come through to us here to be spent in the memorial park.
Well, could somebody from your place let these people know up there that they seem to think that they're going to have a park built for their children up there?
That was never a condition of the planning application.
Well, I think somebody, possibly the developer's been actually suggesting that there might be a kids' play area. I mean, it's not going to be delivered. I think rather than on the new development
On the same site,
So I think it might be worthwhile the Borough Council are actually talking to the developer if they're still on site to make publicity that so they
Because I have it down as
get
a
flack for it.
play space on the records I have here. It's going to be allowed when 10% of the dwellings on when space is only be given out.
That was the money being handed over.
Yeah.
But it's being used in the memorial park.
Right, well, they have it in their head that it's going to be a playground there, so somebody from your side may, inform them that it's not going to happen.
Well, I think we're conscious of what's happened near where Sue lives.
Just out there driving,
Yeah,
very cautious.
and these little play areas can be
Disaster.
no use whatsoever. And in the end, finish up like the one down there is in fact something which is, frankly, beyond belief. And an argument between the
I want to relay in what people up there have
Well, as you know, I live on Long Beach Drive, which
and
is just quick.
they're requiring a play area up there, so I just put it in your wall to find out.
Well, the simple answer is they won't be getting it.
But I think that perhaps that they should. that
Because
should
if
be
I
named.
remember rightly also, where Councillor Harrison lives, at the side of his house, there's a big green piece of land there that the borough mows, and they class that as a play area for kids or whatever, don't they?
It was taken over by my second wife, and who maintained it for 12 years, until somebody called Heatherly wrote to her, signing it in my name.
Let's not go there, Miss Councillor Harris. Councillor Young, have you got any borough councillor?
No, we still haven't had a meeting.
Have you got Councillor Casside?
Yeah, about my wife, council. Just a bit about
You're referring to what they're in now.
Yeah.
You might have noticed that there's quite a few road signs being painted, especially the old ones that where they look dingy, they've now been painted. Some down Routing Brains are doing it, that we've just done. On the mention of Rosebay, there was a problem a couple of months ago with there's a bit of a mound there. I don't know if it's temporary, permanent, but they were mountain cycling down it, and if they didn't stop quick enough at the bottom, they were going right across Long Lane. So there is some sort of barrier being put up there now. She's got, but also she's trying to get a little bit of traffic calming there, so people coming out of the pedestrian bit of Rosebay can walk over in a safer manner, if you know what I mean, and tactile paving. The King's CCTV, she's asked if they could just go there and put it up now it's empty. Just go and put it up and hang the consequences, but the officers won't. But
Well, I've got a licence agreement.
well, if anyone's got a big enough land, we'll probably do it. But you know what I mean. If you just go
Well,
exasperate.
apparently on the last time
Well,
it was brought up,
So Councillor Bennett.
apparently on the last time we spoke about King's Arms, Councillor Young said that they needed access to the building to put power to it. They can't just put it up there. And then when you did ask the person who owns the building, he said to you he has to check with his solicitor to see if this true that this permission was given. Put this camera on the building, and we've heard nothing since.
I think it was signed on behalf of the borough by this chap here in the chair. If it wasn't, it signed by the solicitor actually for the borough.
Actually, not me.
You dealt with him.
Sorry,
I've found out that Mark Trillo, can't pronounce it, refuses to do it till he sees any legal paper. As far as he's concerned, there's no legal paper where the council had permission to put it on. No matter what he said, he says he's not seen any application or legal papers.
Well, there should be a file on it, because the file was about that thick on CCTV, and it may be in the basements of Boston Town Hall. Yeah, we've got a copy of the licence, which we sent him a copy to show the form they took. So he needs to get some people investigating the former IP records. Councillor Young.
I just wanted to say for Councillor Size and Bennett, if you want to take this bit, what Councillor Waters has just said, back to his wife, she actually has a meeting with Mark Trelaw next Tuesday.
So perhaps it could be
So
raised.
perhaps you can raise it directly with him.
You take the piece of paper with it.
Yes, if you could send me the piece of paper.
I sent it to Mark.
I know, but he has so many staff underneath him. I think if she can go along with the piece, you know.
I just happen to know she's got a meeting with him actually.
Councillor Gourlay.
Just to skip back to Southhead Drive, and I requested the previous minutes of the Parish Council as to what had come up in the past about Southhead Drive, and it's just month after month, year on year of us going to the Borough Council and getting no response back. Can we please ask the Borough Council whether they consider this now a dead subject, or whether they are actively going to do anything at all about it?
Well, that's what. Yeah, we can. Yeah, of course we can. We can ask them that. But as far as the money's now gone, because it's time limited, they haven't taken the money, and I don't think they'll proceed with it. Councillor Size.
Well, obviously, my wife is together with Councillor Young, you know, so it comes under their ward. Now, as I understand it, I don't think 100% on this, but a lot of it's to do with a wall, the retaining wall was higher up, and he's got a 5-year guarantee, but they won't take it over unless he has a 10-year guarantee. And they've asked, I might be, correct me if I'm wrong, they've asked the Parish Council if they'll take it over, and the Parish Council said, well, if you want to take it over with without a 10-year guarantee, now we'll meet. Now that's I understand. Now, from my point of view, as a member of the public, if this retaining wall's further up or whatever, is there any reason why we can't buy equipment, put it in there, reinstate it? Okay, even while it's in limbo, and even if this retaining wall falls down in 5.5 years' time, just after the guarantee, you know, so we'll move the equipment to another park. Is it? You know, it just seems joint thinking to me.
The retaining wall is at the back of that playground, holding
holds the park up.
If it collapses, all the kids in there will be tipped into the brook. It's not a retaining wall further up. It's the actual structure of the playground.
But given there's a 5-year guarantee, well, can't we just put equipment in there for 5 years? If you know what I mean.
Well, the 5-year guarantee would have expired probably about 4 or 5 years ago, so it's potentially dangerous. From the Parish Council point of view, why should we take on some sort of liability like that? High Peak is a much richer organisation than the Parish Council. They also would have had the benefit of Section 106 money, which they've managed to lose. So why should we?
I understand that.
It's clear that there has been some local authority failure here.
Yeah.
Probably from the Borough Council's point of view. If they're going to do nothing, I don't believe that we should just sit back with a blight on our parish in Southhead Drive.
Well, I think
we should actively do something to improve the area.
Yeah, demolish it and reinstate the riverbank, let little quacking ducks come
Well,
up.
if need be, yes, because then it would not be a congregation area for youth.
Can we maybe put on the next amenities committee, is that interested, then
Yeah, to look at
get them to.
potential uses of it, including demolition and reinstatement as riverbank. Councillor Young.
What I was just going to say to that was that at this moment in time, it is with the legal department at the Borough Council, due to the fact, I was going to give the reason, Councillor Harrison, in the respect of the money that you say has been lost and everything, the land actually still is owned by the developer. It has never been transferred to the Borough Council. So none of us actually own the land. The developer, being Barrett Developments, still own the land.
Are you sure he does?
Not, it could be part of that family as well, but as far as it goes, they own 4 pieces of the land there. And it has never been transferred over.
So, the landowner, the people who developed that area still own that land?
Yes.
Right. Why are they still owning it? Why hasn't the borough or ever push on these people to say they hand it over?
Because of the liability probably. They weren't prepared to take it.
I don't know. We can't get a straight answer.
It's the same with the camera all the time. It's on, going on and on and on. It's just, enough is enough on it. If the people want the people taken down, we need to be pushing pressure on whoever owns that land and say we need to get this done. It's as simple as that. If we can't put play areas and stuff into it, then that's a great idea. Open up, let the river flow and let the ducks come down on it. But do something with it that the congregation of people in certain areas is getting worse. And it has to be done. So a really,
but if you were the landowner, would you like to be told that?
Well,
and would you actually take
when
it on?
he sold the house,
That's rather going around in
when he
circles.
sold the house,
Going around in circles, which the Borough Council's been doing for years. We'll write to the Borough Council and ask them to do something with it, and if they're not prepared to get Borough Developments to do something with it, because it is just an eyesore in the congregation area. Right. Any other items on Borough Council? Did you finish your list, Councillor Seisman?
Yes, just about.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Chair, sorry. This is to both borough representatives. In the recent communication regarding Sheffield Road and its reopening, an email referred to a public consultation. I'm not aware of that public consultation. Is there anybody around the table that is aware of that public consultation?
Yeah, well, I got a consultation form through my letterbox.
What, recently?
No, months ago.
So I was under the impression that 1 month before Hayfield Road opened as a two-way, that there was going to be a leaflet drop, another consultation.
Well, clearly that's not, well, I don't know. The job's not finished yet. They might do it later.
Can I say from Councillor Perkins, because that is a county council issue, and Councillor Perkins has said there will not be another consultation because of what was said about the use of the bypass and everything. It is going back to two-way, and that is that. End of story.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Just moving on to next item, matters related to highways, public footpath, public services, conservation areas, and parish improvements. First one is we've got a request to adopt a telephone box in Bagshaw. We've already adopted 3 others, one in Duff Holes, one in Coombs, and one in Hawthorns Road. And I think there's not a great deal of cost involved in it. We just add it to our insurance portfolio. We didn't have to insure it. So I think it would be a good thing to do. We've got one, yeah, right off, Councillor Bassett.
Who's the request from?
A resident of Bagshaw.
To keep the box, but what about the sort of maintenance and who will be liable for painting it, cleaning it, looking after it?
No, they will.
The other ones we have, there are local community groups who...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is there a local
This
community
case.
group? Because
Yeah.
I don't know, is there? I would suspect it's an individual, is it?
They've not said that there is a group that would want to do something with it.
I think we need
The
to
whole-
find out.
We can write back and say they need to form a group to look after it, and then in fact, then we'll adopt it, Councillor Size and Councillor Young.
On that basis, I'm happy to have a proposal second it. I don't know where we're up to, you know.
Yeah. So
I was going to say the one on Hawthorns is looked after by a single person,
yeah.
John, and so I would either propose or second it as long as we've got somebody who's looking after it, the same as that one is.
Yeah, we've got one with a defibrillator in it as well.
Yeah.
That one's Coombs, yeah. So it's just a bit beaten off the beaten track, so it's a good use of the character.
We put some nice things in that one on board.
Yeah, everybody in favour of
Yeah.
adopting it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for that. This is Hayfield Rd traffic arrangements, that just, yeah, well, it's over two-way again, and when I walked past coming here, there was absolute chaos going on, because they're all whizzing down past the garage and straight down, and not I think the signage has been appalling. There should be give-way signs and signs saying the road is now two-way, and they're just not there.
That was what I was going to say, if I can, Chairman. I will be passing it on because other people said it to me. I will be passing it on to Councillor Perkins. But I think we should write to them and say, we've had all these signs all around the town saying that business is open and all the diversion signs. I think they should have actually put some sign, the county should put some signs out to say that it is now back to two-way. And I also noticed when I used it earlier that the signage that's at the top end that's got the large arrow and the little arrow to tell you who's got the right of way has still got the black bin bag over it. It's not even been unveiled.
No, it's been unveiled now.
Oh, has it been done?
Yeah.
So I do think though that they could have publicised it better or actually put some signs
Well,
to
they
say
could
that.
have some slow signs rather than
Yeah.
some give-way signs, because
I think we should write to them and ask
Yeah.
them to do that.
well,
Because we did about the business signs and they, what did they do? They came up with the business signs up.
well,
We did about moving the no entry sign because of the crescent. They came and they did it, so I think they must listen to us. So could I suggest we please write?
yeah. Well, we'll email them so that
Yeah,
they get it
same.
tomorrow morning. Councillor Harrison.
Yeah, can we please write to the county about the poles and about the signposts there,
Yeah.
which have still been painted over,
Yeah.
which offend my eye. I don't want to offend anybody else. I know we call it done, but I don't see why that should be on the signs. And the other thing, a note of praise rather. The long path that runs, we call it, I think, the linear path, has actually been mown. The sides of it, between the river and the edge of places like Bridgeway and so on, has been mown, which is clearly now for dog walkers as they walk that particular path, and it's been very bad for a long time. So whoever's done that, wants thanking.
I think it was Joe Bedora complaining for weeks on weeks to Hayfield Borough Council, and then they finally got it done.
It'll be one time.
Councillor Sisley.
Another highway issue. Sunday, the heavy rain. I know there was a bit of flooding in lots of places. And it probably, compared to where all this probably goes, it's significant. But Buxford was very badly flooded. The school had to close was closed on the Monday because they couldn't start the boiler up. The boiler room was so full. But anyway, in our parish of Whitehough, it was basically a lake in the dip between Whitehough and Chiltern.
Yeah.
A lot of it was coming off the tramway. All the drains in the dip were blocked, which it's been a very busy 2 or 3 days, but basically they never cleared the drains out when they resurfaced the road. Wayne's Homes.
Yeah.
So I've had to get them back out to do that, or it should be done the next day or so. I ended up digging a lot of drains and culverts out on the tramway myself, the pouring rain.
Well, part of the problem is the bypass also drains onto the tramway, so you're getting a lot of water from other areas too.
Yeah, there's a new culvert. I've been having a word with. I rang Jim Perkins up on Sunday, and he was at a rock concert at Whitby, but he got them onto it, and I've been a fantastic response actually. And basically, they're putting a culvert in there, which is only semi-related to this, but they're going. They said if I heard, they'll give me a shout. I'll go out, I'll show them all these problems and they'll fix it, which I can't say better. I can't say better.
Councillor Gordon.
A couple of issues on the marketplace. The War Memorial lights are out at the moment. So can you get someone to have a look at it? There's a grid just at the top of the stairs by the side of the old Barclays.
Doesn't go anywhere.
No.
But it's full of leaves, so straight away you go down.
Never has.
Doesn't go anywhere. It's a soakaway.
It's a soakaway.
The that obviously that it pours out underneath the top step, and in the winter the whole thing freezes. Now the problem with the ownership of that particular area means we don't really know who to go to get it fixed.
I'm not going to say the toilets were built by Chapel-en-le-Frith Rural District Council, who was succeeded by the Borough Council. And I think that grid was, to be honest, was put in the days of Chapel-en-le-Frith Rural District. I'm pretty sure.
Councillor Ban.
Yeah, just a quick one. I was approached by some people on Beresford Rd about the condition of the bottom road to Ashbourne Lane. I've been given a date that it will be resurfaced, the bottom end, on the 6th of October by the DCC. Also the Ginnell, they have a problem there with dog fouling and all that. I'm trying to get in touch hopefully with councillor Cat Seisman and maybe Stuart to put in with some signage for the Ginnell, because it is pure dark. I mean, they changed the light on request from us, but they put it the wrong way around. So we'll be getting back to them tomorrow to come back and switch it back round, because the Ginnell is total darkness and some young girls attacked and lots of miles over there for a report. So if we can get.
There's a lot of shadows with these new LED lights.
Yeah, but we're just looking if we can get some bins.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. Just another item on CCTV. There was a serious incident in Town End, and the police tried to interrogate the Town End camera operated by Hayfield Rd Council, and found wasn't working and hasn't been working for ages. So I saw Councillor Anthony McEwen the other day, and I raised the issue about CCTV in Chapel being at least we've got at least 2 cameras, I've got 4 out, and he said that they're currently negotiating with the external contractor who provides CCTV services to terminate their contract and move in-house like it used to be. So hopefully we might find some improvements in the surface, and the service is going back to Ecclesfold, so we might find it improves once it's actually operated by IP.
Well, I understand that there have been several rapes recently at Town End, which are fact which we should probably know and will emerge when we get the police.
Yeah, we'll wait until then.
And I think we should be wary of that and aware of it. One man has already been sent to Chesterfield and got off.
Yeah, okay. So, any other items on that item 6? No. So the next item is full council on September.
Move on to the tree record.
We've got the planning committee on the 17th of September, with the town hall committee on the 24th of September.
Can I just put a query on the next
Of the full council, right?
full count? It's
We'll go through one page by page.
Okay.
So page 1, as we normally do. Page 2. Page 3.
Yeah, page 3. I noticed that the depot at Barnford has been tidied up. I hope it was from our letter, but I suspect, I think it was rented from DCC by the railways that were doing a lot of work along there. I think it was their rubbish, so whether they've actually finished. But certainly it's been tidied up anyway. It looks a lot better.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for that. You're page 3, Councillor?
sorry, page 4.
All right, page 4.
My page 3 later on.
Yeah, we should stop reading the sun.
Page
Yeah,
4,
yeah,
go
yeah.
for it. Okay, finished the amenities committee. Now, last month I mentioned that basically that we actually passed a resolution that the meeting should start before 5 p.m.
I think we just took that on board.
Sorry?
I thought they took that on board as a domestic matter.
No, well, the thing is it just interfered in the minutes, so I just wanted it minutes.
Oh, right, yeah.
So basically, in the next minutes, can we minute that we made that resolution? You know, that I know you have to do a minute.
Was it not in the minutes?
No, it was missed.
Okay.
But I mean, last week everybody agreed.
It's probably my fault, because I read those.
Oh, right.
Before I read.
Yeah.
Right, any other items on page 4? Page 5. Yeah, 2183, the Honorary Freemen. Yeah, I think we were going to just review it, and I think it's a case of how we do it. I think Councillor Young came up with a good suggestion.
That was what I was going to say from the chairman, if I can share that with everybody. Because it's next month, November, we go through all our policies and review them all, every single one for the whole year, as such, don't we?
You've agreed that the full council should review this.
Yeah, well, the thing is, could that go to that policy meeting next month and then be brought to the full council for ratification so that we can go through
We
it?
haven't agreed that, so.
So it's whether you want to do it in a council meeting or whether you want an extra meeting just to do that.
If you want a single meeting or you want to do it in a council meeting now. It's probably simpler to do it in a council meeting. Yeah, okay, we'll bring it to the next time. We'll put it in the agenda item for the next
Yeah, that's
council
the next
meeting.
one then, yeah.
So, and then on to page 6. Yeah, we're going to a regeneration support meeting. We've got a number of things on our sort of capital wish list, which I think was CCTV and lighting in the park. That's the other one.
But if anybody's got
Anybody got any additional ones?
No.
Yeah. Any additional sort of capital projects we can bid for? Small?
Well, if it comes to the South End Drive play area, we're going to go down that route.
Even though it's not owned by us, we can ask
Yeah,
for
yeah.
regeneration. Yeah.
It's a regeneration thing.
Yeah. We can
Don't
ask.
we need to have I don't think the first meeting of the regeneration committee yet, so.
No, this is.
It's the meeting we've been invited
Yeah.
to, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've asked if we'll take any items.
Yeah.
These have to go back to the borough.
And yeah,
It's
they've
the
got to go
borough
back to the
council
borough.
asking this.
So we could actually, that's the way of putting some pressure on the borough maybe to do it.
That's what I was just
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
So is that the same one you've asked us about marketplace in this sector?
Yeah, Liam and I have been invited to a meeting at Hayfield Rd Council
Okay.
about regeneration, and they've asked if any councils have got any projects within the parish.
I think we've all agreed, Councillor Walters, we said you need that.
Yeah.
Just about time today, I'll send it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's the full council. Next one is planning committee. So Councillor Van, run through any points if there's any work.
No, points on that there at all, not very straightforward, that's it. Very nice, it was a very nice day to be honest.
Right, so, and the next one is Town Hall Committee on the 24th of September. So I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was nothing, well, it's all written down there,
Yeah.
but then you can we are going to meet in the next couple of weeks to just walk around and confirm what we recommend for some of those things, yeah.
Just because normally meetings like that don't have the sort of exclusion of press and the public resolution. We did discuss some things which are about security, so from now on any sort of committee of this type will have an area that's confidential just in case there are things which are sensitive.
They will be held at the end of the council meeting.
Yeah. So just in case the meeting's filmed, so anything that might be sensitive doesn't go into the meeting.
Okay, is that because it's not in the standing orders or?
That's because we never had our meetings filmed in that way. Well, we did talk about security in this building, so which is not.
Yeah.
So we're going to have, so we'll have a confidential section.
So if any of the public can come to a meeting and it's not filmed, do we want to have a confidential section?
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is that we're going to have a confidential section. We have had confidential ones in the past, so, but it wasn't as a matter of policy. So the next item is filming of meetings. I think we've got currently 2 films going on. I think we need to look at certain things. The big issues really are general public have the option to opt out of being filmed. We've got to deal with the GDPR and privacy issues from the Data Protection Act 2018, which the filmers need to. We've got no responsibility. It's the responsibility of people filming. Potentially, content going on the internet is not controllable by ourselves. It's capable of being edited or and potentially the camera operator has no relationship with the Parish Council, and we can't really control what happens. In terms of the Information Commissioner's Office, all participants have the right to be informed and to opt out of being informed. And in terms of the code of practice we've got, it needs to be updated. I think it was formulated in 2014. And we also need to publicise it by putting it on our website and our Facebook page and so on. So there's also whether the Parish Council should actually film its own meetings and live streaming, which I'm not paid for. So I'd like to make a proposal that we actually seek prices from a videographer to come and actually film the meeting on behalf of the Parish Council. So, Councillor Young.
Well, can I just say on that one, Chairman, that obviously with the Borough Council side of things, and we are linked to Staffordshire Moorlands, they have the filming at Staffordshire Moorlands in their committee room there, and they've got their own cameras and everything that are set up all the time so that they can be switched on for whichever meeting, and then the council has the rights over it all and everything, and like say if there's a part 2 bit, we can switch them off or whatever. So I fully agree with your idea in terms of having a look at, and would it be viable, is what I was going to say, to us actually have our own, so that if, the way they've got theirs set up, it means that it picks up all the councillors and the officers, as this is set now, and it does not pick up any members of the public, so that you actually are getting rid of your GDPR bit and the personal bit for the public.
Okay.
I watched the Staffordshire Moorlands broadcast. I can tell you it virtually gets every member of the public gets picked up. Whenever there's a speaker who's coming to sort of object or propose something, you can always see the rest of the public in the background. They're always there. Now, what they do is they just have a standard statement that bring to each meeting, which you go on there, if you go on Staffordshire Moorlands. Regarding us film, okay, we've got someone doing the filming, it goes out in its entirety. If somebody's doing it for free, why use ratepayers' money? We can use for better things. Right, it's my attitude.
Well, Councillor Gourlay.
I've no objection at all to going out and getting quotes for someone to film it, but I don't think it's realistic that this council would pay, for example, 5 or 10% of the rate on some wedding photographer coming in here each month and filming our parish council meeting.
I don't think it'll be anything like 5 or 10%.
Well, you can imagine a professional cameraman spending a day and a half in filming and editing together 2.5 hours of footage.
Well, the thing is, we don't want it edited. What we want is it just filmed and live streamed, and then the record kept of it. We don't. It's not going to cost a huge amount of money. But well, if you're happy, then we'll get some quotes. So
I do. I mean, let's get quotes for how much it is per council meeting, because there will be some editing and there will be sound syncing and all the rest of it. But what I think you will find once you get quotes is that you will then start to look at fixed cameras and whether fixed cameras are the right idea.
Well, I think that's why I said get a videographer in, is to experiment and know what we want to do, and then get a fixed installation, so that they could perhaps go up in that corner and film, and then people perhaps underneath the camera are those ones who opt out of being filmed. So, but I think fixed installation is the way to go.
Yeah, and if you have, I know that I've done it. So last time I've done other meetings as well. If you have one camera angle, you're going to be filming the back of people's heads. And if you have two camera angles, you're going to spend 5 or 6 hours editing. So, I mean, you're going to end up with financial implications.
We were going to have a word with the guy from Hayfield who does filming. His name, Linton? Yeah.
Lyndon
Byrne about it as well.
He does the-
Okay,
he does
so
the
I'm
planning
proposing
work
we
for us.
get quotes for a
Yeah.
videographer.
I'll
So,
second that.
everybody in favour of
Yeah.
that? And if it's successful, then we could go ahead for maybe a fixed installation. Councillor Baxter?
Would that mean then that would be the camera? You wouldn't have anybody else?
Oh, anybody else can film as
As
well.
well.
We would have our own record on our own website of our meetings.
Right.
And we would keep it on our website, not put it onto Facebook or anything else. Right, so economic regeneration. No, the next one is outside bodies. I went to the Hayfield Parish Forum, which was held in Chingford at the beginning of the week. We had a few presentations, one from Derbyshire for police on Derbyshire, and it sounds a pretty good system where if there's an incident, the police email,
Everybody's got
a card, everybody's got a card of it, the police email all their contacts in the area, and they usually get some quite good intelligence out of it. It's very interesting. It's in its infancy at the moment, but as it develops, I think it will become a very good system. We had a bit of a planning training and update session from Jake Colley of IP. Councillor Martin Thomas then spoke to us about the situation in Whaley Bridge since the dam incident and what's going on at the moment. Then we had a lady from Environmental Health IP who spoke about disabled facilities grants for homes and landlord accreditation grants, which are given to landlords to provide and agree a methodology of how they let their property and maintain their property and so on. And then the leader of the council talked about the new corporate plan and a peer review of Hayfield Borough Council as it exists at the moment. So it was relatively informative. So,
Just on that,
yeah.
the
Yeah, sorry.
big part parishes, is it Parishes Forum Day that is on the 12th of September?
It's both. It's both.
Whatever it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's both.
Well, I thought we were sending 2 representatives, and I was the reserve, but I got some correspondence about it from Fleet Park.
It's probably because they've got spaces and issues.
So, who were the representatives who were going?
Councillor Harrison and Councillor Walters.
Yeah. No, I've not heard anything from them.
Oh gosh, well they sent it to me wrongly then.
I haven't had any.
Have you had anything, Councillor?
I just was waiting to ask Sue because I didn't know.
I haven't
Well,
had an
then
agenda.
It's only to sign up for which working group you want to go on. I'll forward it to you tonight. Yeah. So
And
you're going.
this is 12 October, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So you hadn't told them then that we must have got it wrong then.
There were 3 columns and you
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I'll send them to you.
Right,
I
thank
think the date for putting myself down for one of these working groups
Day.
was today, the 1st of October, which I'm sure it won't matter.
Right, yeah,
I'll
have a look tomorrow
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
sort it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. update. So yeah, town hall, nothing to report. Doug, parks and open spaces. Any comments? Councillor
Yeah, recently we seem to be going through a spell of high unsociable behaviour in and around the park. I've had occasion to take at least two trolleys from out of the park from various supermarkets. I took them back. And going on to CCTV as well, we are missing huge amounts of unsocial behaviour currently. I've spoken to the dentist, Co-op, Morrison's. None of them, would you believe, I've actually bar the dentist have CCTV of anything that's going on outside of their stores, and yet there are large amounts of antisocial behaviour going on outside their stores. I'm not sure if that's something that the Parish Council could address with these companies. If we can't get our own CCTV up, maybe we could tap into theirs. But if theirs isn't on a you know, they're there, but they're not actually doing anything.
Yeah, well, in terms of the incident at Town End, when the police found the camera the town centre camera wasn't working, they looked at all the businesses in the area and they got CCTV from various sources, including Paris, and I think maybe the Shoulder of Mutton and some others, and they're trying to piece it. What they were looking for is vehicle movements at the time of the incident, and they got quite a lot of good data from private cameras, so yeah, it's something businesses perhaps should consider.
I've got 4 cameras on the marketplace. I've got one going down the steps, I've got one going towards the church, and one that just covers past the roadblock, and then one that just does a car park. So I have got some cameras, but it won't go any further up because it's not sophisticated enough. But whether there is any need, at the moment, they're not set up right. Anything around that area, my cameras cover it.
Yeah, you could register that you got those with Derbyshire Alert, because that could be really useful data.
Right.
Particularly at that dark end of the market.
Yeah, that's why I had it facing towards the churchyard, because of a lot of
right, there's also quite a lot of antisocial behaviour in Needham Rec, I think, at the weekend too. So, and there's also somebody who keeps riding a horse around it when the children are playing in there. So
Needham Recreation Ground.
Yeah, so it's moving around in the town at the moment, but apparently steps are going to be taken to keep the horse out.
Sorry, Chair, one more about the park as well. I've had quite a number of people have major concerns over the amount of cannabis that's been smoked in our park too. And people that are using the park feeling unsafe. Is there anything that...
Ring 101 every time there's an incident, and usually incidents go up.
Because they'll get a drug stock in to sniff them as well.
Right. Just ring 101.
Yeah, Councillor Gourlay.
I can't imagine that they're going to do anything about it. You know, as far as the police forces are concerned, they will do nothing about people smoking drugs. Right, so it's a great shame that that's the way society has gone.
Councillor Batten.
I just want to say, a lot of people have this perception of 101. It doesn't matter. I mean, I was on it the other day, 45 minutes I waited for a reply, but I hung on because I needed to give intel to the police. We have to endorse people and tell them if there's something happening, no matter how small it is, ring 101 to get it logged. We need to know exactly what's happening in our area. We need to know, and then we need to push it on to the police to say, look, here's the facts, here's the police people that are making complaints. So like ringing 101 and then phone down. Keep at it, keep ringing. Especially if they're smoking drugs in there, keep at it, keep ringing. That's that we need to tell people, ring the 101.
Right, Councillor Syers.
I best agree with Councillor Bannon there, is that you can do it online as well. But the whole idea is the more, we're in this situation nowadays, which should be that it needs 10 people to report a crime before they do anything. So report it. Keep on doing it, and they do. And make the place a hotspot for reports. It might seem counterintuitive, but.
So just one more. Would you be able to pass that information on to the parties? Because they're also aware of it. So they'll also be ringing 101 as well. So.
Yeah, and if they get any violent incidents or threats, they should be Councillor Young.
Yeah, can I just say, also, when you do ring the 101, make sure that the operator understands where you actually are, because with them being in Chesterfield and that, they had a problem when we had the planters knocked over in the main street, and there was the trouble with at the New Inn, and then it was down at the Beehive down in Coombs and that. They didn't realise that Coombs was part of Chapel and all the rest of it. People could walk that far. But they did finally join the dots, and they did go and collect up the people that were doing it, and I do believe they've been to court and that, or they've gone away to court. So just make the 101 operator realise, you know, that if it is Duffholes, or if it is Coombs, or if it's Whitehough, that it is part of the Chapel area as such, because they don't automatically join the dots for the area, because they don't know our area there in Chesterfield.
Councillor Ben.
We actually could take lead on that through our website as well.
Yeah.
By just responding and letting people know.
Mm.
Yeah, if we can get a wee tell for them what to do in the situation or go online and report it as well. You know, just explain to them and the geography of the area you're in. A little bit of tidbits from us would help them.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other parks and open spaces? Next one is allotment sites. Before I pass this over to Councillor Gordon, I just want to give the sort of Parish Council's point of view. The Leys Allotments is situated in an area designated for employment in the Hayfield Local Plan and our neighbourhood plan. The Council has worked in partnership with High Peak to bring the employment plan forward in the master plan for the area, and that involved looking at the status on the Leys site, so we would have half the site for employment uses. The Council has contributed financially towards the master plan alongside High Peak, so I think we've spent in excess of 4,000 on that. High Peak have identified there's a need for employment sites in the parish, which we kind of concur with, because we've had a lot of houses and not many jobs. The lifting of part of the statutory status on the Leys site subject to providing allotments on the remaining 50% of the site. And to provide more allotments the way forward, we'd sell the lower part of the site and invest the money in making decent allotments with car parking spaces and an access road on the remaining bit of the site. So Councillor Gourlay asked for the item to go on, so I'll pass over to him. And then
through freedom of information requests, this has moved now from part 2 of the meeting into part 1. So it's gone from a confidential item into...
The whole item is confidential.
Not anymore.
Part of the item is very confidential.
So as far as who the bidders are, that is in the public domain. I've got all of it from the ministry.
Well,
I don't need to sell me out, Councillor Gurley. You don't frighten me.
No, it's in the public domain. It's come to me from the ministry.
The confidential, if I've pointed of information, why it was confidential, because there was figures talked about, there was the bidders talked about. We are no longer in that situation. It is no longer on the market.
no, it isn't.
So anyway, so we've been through this process where the allotment status has been removed on half the allotment land. From the response of the Secretary of State granting that removal of allotment status, it's clear that they were under the misapprehension that this had been uncultivated for many years.
Most of it
Most of it was. Most of it was. At least 90% was uncultivated.
It doesn't matter if 90% was uncultivated when at the time we still had a leaseholder while we were applying for these allotments to be removed. I mean, we had a leaseholder at the time we started,
The allotment holder, it's not a leaseholder.
he had a lease. I
Yeah,
said the
the
lease.
allotment.
There's a difference between licence, a lease, a tenancy.
So the one way that we can fix this, there was a cutting of corners, or the Secretary of State came up with this misapprehension somehow that had been uncultivated since 2010 or 2012 or whenever it was. The one way that we can fix that is to say, let's just turn them back into offices. We have people waiting. You know, there is no waiting list, but Jockey and I know people who are ready to move in and have allotments on this site.
Well,
And all it takes us is one vote tonight to do that, and they can move right back in.
well, the business case from the Parish Council point of view is that the last information we got from the courses is there's no waiting list there. At double holds allotments, there's currently one vacancy, and there's 2 people on the notice for the end of October, so we've got 3 allotments. We've got a duty to provide allotments for the parish. At the moment, we've got a surplus of allotments. The demand isn't there to take up all the sites we've got. So, yeah, we're fulfilling our duty in its entirety. So the proposal is to reopen the whole of the allotment site. So if you could make that proposal, right, who's going to
I'll second that.
Right, so we have a vote.
So is the proposal just like what we've got?
As you get written.
Yeah.
Right, so we have a vote on that. Who's all in favour?
What's that? What are we voting on? For?
To reopen the whole of the allotment site, supply allotments.
Right, so we've got 3.
Is that 3?
Yeah, 3. And all those
Oh, one,
again?
yeah.
4.
I know someone who wants one.
We should put
Yeah.
them down.
I don't really know how to go about it.
Sorry.
This is one that we were talking about
Do you want to reopen the whole of the Leys Allotment site, or do you want to
No.
leave it for employment?
No, so we've got 4 in favour, all those against.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right, okay,
But
so
the reason for that is that there is a equal need. I mean, I know of others who want to move. For instance, well, I won't mention names because we're actually being televised, if you like. But in fact, there's a huge employer of loads of blokes, mainly blokes, I have to confess, who is anxious to be nearer the bypass. And so is another. And our intention was to create another business park, which is what the local, and it's not just our locals that have made here, it is in fact the borough councils,
The neighbourhood and local.
neighbourhood. No, we had a neighbourhood plan as well,
Neighbourhood and local.
it's the bit, and it's the local plan as well.
but it's the local plan as well, in ours as well as the boroughs. And in fact, that is approved by the government inspector. And I think we've got a duty to see what we can do. We don't have the money, therefore we rely upon those who do, which is the businesses concerned, to fuel the thing. And when we did the last one, and we didn't do it, the borough did it, it was in fact paid for by Europe. And as we are intent to leave Europe this month, I gather, and then the money won't be coming from there, will it? But in fact, you know, we have got some money out of Derbyshire Business Association.
That's right, so, right, have you finished, Councillor Harrison?
Yeah.
Councillor Batterley, then Councillor Sizemore,
Well,
and Councillor Elton.
you know, well, let's be clear about what we're saying now. We're not saying no to allotments.
No.
We've heard that there is no waiting list for allotments in the parish. I mean, everybody might like the idea, but let's put your name down on the waiting list.
And let's charge a reasonable fee.
And I think we've also, I mean, I'm in favour of allotments. I think they're very good, but I think we have to also take into account the small number of allotment holders in the parish as a percentage of the total population. And if we're not careful, because of the cost of opening up the Leys, that we will be subsidising that small part of the population really heavily. It would cost an enormous amount to bring those back.
The payback probably be something
Yeah,
like
and
25 years.
What the council were trying to do, we didn't have any sort of motives apart from working with the borough council to provide employment land for the people of the borough.
Yeah.
And because there was, we were fulfilling our obligations on the other sides, that was quite clear that what should happen. There was nothing unwound about it. The confidential nature of it was because there were facts and figures that were I don't know what you call it, confidential.
Yeah.
It's not to be in the public domain at the time. But there are no proposals at the moment to sell the land. It's come to a standstill.
It has, it's
So,
actually stopped.
but if it was, what you would get employment land and allotments. But in the meantime, there are enough land allotments in the parish.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. But what we need is high peak for their economic development people to get a grip of it again.
Yeah.
So councillor Sizeland, then councillor Addison, then councillor Gordon.
Right, obviously I've declared an interest in this, so I'm going to be factual here rather than anything else. Obviously I was interested in buying the land. Now, what I did, I think, was it about 2 years ago I basically brought the National Allotments Society local area person down here. I showed him some land that could be possibly swapped for the allotments, and
But he thought it was unsuitable.
he said it needed some work done on it, and I said I'd pay for that work. But anyway, you had a vote. You decided.
Are you talking about Westbrook Close?
Yes.
Yeah,
He
no,
actually
he said
said
it's
it was
unsuitable.
unsuitable because it's on a floodplain.
He said it was unsuitable for a community or orchard,
It's on a floodplain.
not for allotments.
He said it might be better at suitable. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, can I continue on to the next bit? Okay, I said, right, whatever you decide, if you don't like this one, I'll think of something else, I'll find something else next month and find another piece of land and that. Now suddenly, about a week or so after that meeting, and I said, and if you don't like that one, the month after I'll try and find another piece of land to bring. Because I just felt nobody being looked at. A postcard in the parish notice board is now near there, you know. And if you don't like that one, the next month I'll try and find another one and bring that to you. And then everybody's winning. You've got allotments, you've got industrial land, you've got jobs, you've got onions, you've got potatoes, everybody's happy. Now, but after that first thing, which I think I took people by surprise, very soon after that, I got told that I had to put my final offer in within a few days.
Nobody's been asked to make an offer.
No. My final plans for the allotments, that I was not allowed to bring one the next one. I had it to do midweek. I had a meeting with Mike Evanson.
The council
Yeah, but that was.
appointed a consultant to act on their behalf to speak in German with landowners.
Yes.
And I believe you did have that.
Yeah, well, I went to this meeting with Mr. Evanson. He said, "We need your final offer." And I said, "Well, this is what I can offer at this moment in time." You know, so what I'm saying is, if that sort of process continued, you might have got sorted out. That's what I'm saying.
Right, councillor Addison and then councillor Gordon.
Chair, Hayfield Borough Council have identified a shortage of industrial land.
No,
But that's what was.
they've identified people wanting industrial land.
And yet they gave planning permission for houses on the Honorary site that was proposing employment opportunities. They've allowed council to get planning permission on one of their houses, on their units, the houses.
What are you talking about?
They went on their designated.
No, the one to the side of the orchard.
Yeah, well, that's pre-neighbourhood plan. The neighbourhood plan has kind of shut all those things down.
That was after
The goalposts moved.
Yeah.
But you know, I just want to get back to these allotments. If you're not selling them at this moment in time, if there's no plan to sell them,
well, there may be movements.
And there are people that want to use them. Why they can't open them?
Because they can be accommodated on other allotment
That's
sites.
at the moment.
Where are these
Right,
allotments?
Councillor Morley, and then we're going to shut it down. because you can't
I'd like to agree with Councillor Adset that we've closed these allotments with the idea of selling them, and now we're not selling them. We've kicked people off the allotment, and there's nothing happening.
Normally, when the parish council make a decision, then there's no further discussion on that item for 6 months. I've allowed some discussion after the decision, so I think you can't argue it's been carried that we're going to just leave things the way they are. So let's move on to the next part of allotments, which is about keeping livestock in allotments. The lease with Federal Mogul, which I think is dated 1932. Yeah. Doesn't allow livestock to be kept on that land at all. Dove holes were sold to the council from ICI, and it's got a restrictive covenant on it that it's for growing of, I think, fruit, vegetables and produce only. So again, no livestock. There is a 1950 Allotments Act that permits the keeping of hens and rabbits, as long as not for profit. Other livestock would be with the landlord's permission. And in terms of hens, only female animals are allowed, not cockerels, and they are only for personal use. And the kind of measure is 2 to 3 hens. And the RSPCA has got a special guidelines for animals kept on allotments, which are quite stringent for their welfare. So it's quite a difficult thing to keep animals on. They've got to be have scratching areas, and they've got to be checked regularly for pests and so on. So, Councillor Gorlin and Councillor Ed.
It's the law that allotment holders can keep hens and rabbits.
Well, the Borough Council used to allow in council housing 6 hens, no cock, was what was said.
But the land that we hold has got covenants on it that go against the act. So Councillor Young first, I think.
I was just going to say, Chairman, on this one, on the Ferodo allotment sites and everything, I do recall a long while back, when I first started, that somebody was keeping hens there, and they did keep a cockerel, so they were told off about that. But it did bring in rats, and the other neighbours, if you like, on the other allotment sites around it, complained, and he was actually sort of like, he'd say blackballed and asked to leave and take his animals with him because it didn't work in conjunction with the other people, because it brought in rats, because of there being feed left down and that for the hens to peck at and that.
Yeah,
So
there's also
it caused problems with
there's also
the...
rabbits on the courses, which they don't like because they eat all their cabbages and carrots.
So it does cause problems, that's all I'm just going to say.
I'd like to reiterate, it's the law. We can't do anything about it. If it's an allotment, then the allotment holders can keep hens and rabbits.
Which means not on the courses. In fact, they're held under a different act.
Councillor Size and then Councillor Adset.
Okay, so basically, we can always, please come and write to Frodo and please come and write to ICI to see if they have any objection.
As far as the courses go, the Courses Allotments Society run the site, and in their lease it says there is no keeping of livestock. So their society have agreed that, so they would need to be asked.
Okay, so we have to ask them instead.
Yeah, Councillor Adset.
Sorry, Chair, it was actually me who asked so that the keeping of livestock. I've been asked by people who hold allotments in bowls if they could have chickens, because they would take some of the empty spaces and for the chickens. And as for the keeping of livestock on the courses, I spoke to their chairman, who told me that they allowed chickens.
Well, I got a copy of their letting agreement, which
So that might be something
Yeah,
he's
which says it does
not certain
yeah.
of. And that's decreed by Federal Mogul.
yeah, there
With empty spaces that
So
people
number 2
prepare.
say this is their agreement, and number 8 says
Yeah.
not to keep livestock fowl for any kind on the allotments. So that is their letter.
I can have a copy of that,
Oh, do
please.
you?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Tom. But we've got empty spaces that people would happily take up if they fill out our chickens.
But then the other people that occupy the spaces might not like chickens. So yeah, we've got to be fair to everybody. Councillor Bagshaw.
I'm not quite clear about that because if we've got empty spaces, then they are spare allotments.
Yeah.
Which should be taken off. So therefore we've got spare allotments. Is
Yeah.
that right then, Councillor Adster?
To also, yeah, but that's not where these people want these allotments.
Well, we're
That's
bound
what
to
has
provide them in the parish. So there's empty spaces.
There's
I mean,
one,
I have
that's
a big garden which is as big as a vegetable garden, as big as an allotment, and I can assure you I would not want chickens or rabbit anywhere near. It just doesn't go with growing produce. Rabbits get out and get under a fence anywhere,
Mm.
and so do chickens, they fly over the top.
Any other comments? And we'll just move on.
I think we ought to bring it to a conclusion, Chairman, if we can.
Well, yeah, well, it's quite clear what the courses ones say, and the restrictive covenants on the whole side.
So we've got to arrive to both plots and see what
I
they
don't
say.
think ICI
I
really
don't-
are on
No, I don't think they exist anymore.
And you'd be very lucky if you got a reply out of the federal mogul.
Yeah,
Try.
yeah. Judging by past experience of the federal mogul, when we
They're
tried
not
to actually
interested.
take the allotment site over as a parish council, we got so far, and it's how many years is it, Councillor?
We're still waiting for their solicitation.
I don't know.
It's-
But
it's
there's
four-
spare
must
land
be
there that's
five.
owned by federal mogul, but we couldn't get anywhere because what we wanted to do was actually buy that site
Yeah.
so that we could open up spare land
Yeah,
for more allotments there.
yeah, there
So
were.
that was another avenue we explored, but they wouldn't play ball at all.
There's an adjacent site that used to be for federal mogul
Yeah.
employees, which would make very good.
Perfect site.
Yeah.
On that, interestingly enough, I've been in touch with Sue recently. Federal Mogul had told me about that situation, and it's funny what they said. It was the Parish Council.
Oh, well, that is not
barriers
true.
It wasn't.
That is not true.
So I've gone back to them. And I've asked
Chairman,
them
I
to-
was present at a meeting
Yeah,
with
so was I.
Federal
Yeah.
Mogul's European
Director.
Director.
Glory
for
somebody.
Sure, could I
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
I was actually speaking to them,
Yeah,
Chair,
yeah,
before
carry on,
Councillor
please,
just
Councillor.
chaired.
Yes. I apologise for that, Jason.
So I went back to I've gone back to the company and asked them to clarify.
Yeah, well,
that.
we thought the negotiations were going very well with, he's an Irish chap, and then suddenly it just stopped with Councillor
So
Bagshaw.
that would be perfect actually, because that's exactly what we want. We wanted a long-term agreement with federal mogul, preferably to buy them, so that we could open up the other part for allotments. And they completely stopped the negotiations completely and wouldn't talk to us at all.
Would you
So if you
excuse
can
me,
find a
Chair?
way
Yeah,
in, that's
problems with
perfect,
that.
absolutely.
We're going to correspondence. I think in your pack there's a nice ICO fact sheet which was provided to all the High Peak councillors, and which Councillor Young made available to ourselves, which is I think quite an interesting document, and I recommend that you all read it. Did you want to say anything about it, Councillor Young?
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a Borough Council, we had a training session on GDPR, which is obviously the open coming thing with everything going on electronically, and it sort of was run by a lady who's been from Leicester, who's been doing data protection and running courses, and she works for Leicester Council for 30 years, and this was the latest fact sheet that she'd received as of the end of last year, which altered things for the parish councils, and she brought them along for, well, it's parish and town councils, and asked us to bring them back to our clerks, because it alters what the rules were previous to that. Because originally everybody had to be registered as a data holder, which costs £35 a year, which we don't actually have to do now as councillors, we're just automatically put on. But It was a case, as she was saying, that you basically have a different hat for different jobs. In respect of you are a person in your own town or parish or whatever, so you have a hat as a person like that. You've got your hat when you're a parish councillor, you've got a hat when you're a borough councillor, you've got a hat if you're a county councillor, or if you're in a union or anything like that. And basically, none of the information should go between any of those, that it should be kept separate, was the main thing she was saying, because obviously, if anything that I receive from here that comes through my borough one, the borough council can look at and could use, and if we were talking of sensitive things, that we wouldn't want them to know about it, so it should all be kept individually. In the same respect as if you're having things coming to home, your bank statements or things for the dentist, if it was coming through your parish council email or whatever, you wouldn't want the parish council knowing what your money is or what you're doing and things like that. And the same applies the other way around, that anything from the parish council should be kept separate. So this is the legal document from the ICO saying that how things should be dealt with in respect of everybody should have individual, and her recommendation, and she does it all over the country, and that is that you should actually have either a borough council email, or a county council email, or you should have a parish council email, which is run by and is secure and safe and goes through the parish council as a whole for any means of data that is kept on the cloud or anything like that, so that if you get yourself into dire straits and everything, the county, the county council, the borough council, or the parish council can go into their history, even if you've deleted it all and you've burnt your laptop or whatever and smashed the hard drive to bits with a hammer. The actual council can go back onto their records and find anything going back, so that any of these silly questions that come up, if it went to court or anything like that, can be proven.
Right, okay. Councillor Gordon.
I agree with the sentiment that you should keep your councillor life and your personal life separate, but the idea that we should spend taxpayers' money on this is just ridiculous.
Well, the lady in the conversation, because other people from Whaley and other councils were there, and they said they felt that it should be provided because it's part of your job. You are doing it for virtually for free. You only get expenses if you go outside of your parish or anything like that. And with the borough, they said, you're doing it as a small amount. Obviously, the higher up you get, the more you get paid. They considered it was something that should be just automatically given and done, and that is how she told other councils around the country.
And the borough council actually give a grant of about $230 a year for people to have broadband connections so they can maintain that.
What's the word?
So Councillor Sinesland.
It's interesting that Councillor said about lots of the other town and parish councils being there. I think somehow we just need to talk to the other councils and see what locally, you've got Chinley, Whaley, New Mills, Hayfield, etc., and see what ideas they've come up. Because I think we just, none of us are perfect experts on this, but I mean, I went to the Chinley meeting only a few days ago, and it's a pity I didn't know that, because I could have asked them, but I will contact some of the people. I'll contact the Chinley clerk and ask them what they're planning to do, and does anyone else have any other contacts? Because I think we really need to talk before we commit.
We've already agreed to have them, so really we're having Chapel Parish Council email addresses, so we can get them. And I still advocate people that say they've got their own to actually have one for their own protection. And I think the advice that Councillor Young was given by the Parish Council is actually confirmed by that document.
That's the reason why it's given out to cover us.
Just going to the next one, the audit report. We've received the audit report for the external auditor for 2018-19 from PCare, Little John LLP, and they told us no matters have come to their attention giving any cause for concern. And no matters affecting the audit opinion have been drawn to their authority, so clean bill of health for the audit.
I've got that on the correspondence sheet, sure.
Sorry?
I've got that written down. That's on the street.
It's only come today.
Yeah, it's only come today, so
When
yes.
it came yesterday,
It's hot off
we
the
had
press,
to
yeah.
report it by
Yeah.
the 30th of September, so
Yeah.
we're a day late.
Yeah. The next item is racism, which Councillor Rd has asked for, so perhaps you'd like to outline
Yeah,
why
yeah.
this go on.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, I forgot to say racism, stroke, social media. On the 24th of this month, a post was put on Facebook accusing me of systematic racism by a fellow councillor. So I've added it to the minutes so that we could, instead of chatting about it on a social media platform, we could get it out into the open. It's an allegation that I completely deny. I work in a multicultural factory, in a professional environment. I look after a local football team that where anybody can play, regardless of colour. And I just thought it was something that we could speak to in a public environment, Councillor.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up, Councillor, because
Well, yeah, if you'd like to make your response to that, Councillor.
yeah, it actually went up with two bits of information. It was the joke that was put up where you said you'll have a smile at this. Along with it, I did put up what Mr. Gawley had put up about me. And I'll explain why, and then you probably may understand why I had this up on 24. Now this my question is to Councillor Gawley. Can you explain why he thinks it's okay to dehumanise me in a message to a certain person, because I've seen it, calling me a trained monkey? I don't look like a monkey, do I? I'm a human being. A trained monkey for a certain councillor, I won't mention his name. As I'm an ethnic minority in this country, I feel absolutely insulted by your remarks in that message that I am a trained monkey. And also, where I'm annoyed is, you've accused me of costing you £300. In the earthly world, where have you got this £300 for legal fees? Can you explain yourself, Mr. Hawley?
I think there's several points to this. One is that he hasn't replied, Councillor Bannon hasn't replied to why these things build up on social media. And it's not just these singular events. It happens all the time that the discussions on social media of parish council events are done in a frenzy of accusation. Now, I would say, let's just calm it down. Now, Councillor Bannon and his wife have put in 2 official complaints about me. What he's talking about tonight is the latest of these official complaints, that he alleges that on WhatsApp I suggested that he was Councillor Jim Perkins' train monkey and his sidekick.
It's not alleged,
No,
I have the proof.
It's not something that I would usually talk about in a council meeting, but it was in a private conversation amongst people campaigning for the next general election. It was a throwaway line, if I did say it, but it was amongst friends, and if it's been passed on to you, then I feel sort of slightly betrayed that people within that conversation have passed it on to you. The one before, which Councillor Bannon's wife put for the official complaint about that, was that I'd said that Councillor Jim Perkins implied that gypsies were responsible for the theft of council millimetres. Now, these things end up in official complaints, but Councillor Bannon's wife wasn't actually here. She didn't hear whether it had happened or not, whereas many people in this room were here and did hear it said. I cannot help thinking that these complaints are being made for political reasons, and indeed Councillor Bannon is acting as a proxy for Councillor Jim Perkins, who I now hear has said that he will never return to this parish council for the remainder of his term.
Right. Councillor Bannon and then Councillor
Yeah,
I'd like this wrapped up because
I just want to respond to that, and then I will respond to Councillor.
Is this council business?
It's not really.
No.
No, I think.
I have here that you have said exactly what you said, and your name is here. Well, he should stop waging a campaign against me. I have no campaign against anybody. I want to work in this community and work well with everybody. I don't want to have to look over my back. But to turn around and then say that I am a trained monkey, well, I don't know if Mr. Perkins has a license as a zoologist, but I ain't a monkey. And to say that I've cost you 300 quid, that's unbelievable.
That's
unbelievable. Why you ever that I'm a sidekick. The reason why, that's what I said.
Right.
Can I just say, was this on a WhatsApp or was this on social media?
Social media.
This is WhatsApp.
The reason why it was brought up was because I thought it was in conjunction with what he had said here, that you put up that joke about the monkey.
Right. I don't think this is really for this meeting.
Right.
What I would say to you, though, Councillor, I said, I think you sent a fairly offensive email out not very long ago where you accused all old people of smelling of wee. I think that is a tremendously ageist and unnecessary remark, and I'd like you to do a public apology for that, please.
Absolutely, not a problem, yes. I apologise for that.
Councillor,
I said I've been up before, Council Battery, actually.
Right, okay.
I actually brought it to the attention. You call me a racist on social media, Paddy. The implications of that are massive.
Well, the way you worded it,
The implications
well,
of that
you
are
worded
massive.
it.
Why don't you discuss this outside the
This
council
will make you
and
smile.
make an agreement and shake hands and agree to move on because it's not for this meeting.
No,
Yeah, if you want to complain about it, go to the monitoring officer. Both of you, either of you. Councillor Bagshaw.
I've had several emails from Councillor Gurley, copied to all members of the council, which I found offensive. I actually showed them to a solicitor who was horrified. I've shown them to a lot of people who are also horrified. That is not the sort of behaviour that should go on in this council, and I object to it. I don't do that sort of thing. Councillor Gurley sort of painting himself as this innocent in all this. I'm sorry, he starts a lot of fires burning and then adds fuel to them. And I personally don't want to be involved in it at all.
No, well, I agree. And Councillor Gawley did go to the Code of Conduct where I hope he learned, some behaviour.
Point of order. Can I just say that the chairman has also put in an official complaint with the monitoring officer?
I have, yeah, because I found the email you sent out about me to be completely offensive.
Which was a truthful account
Rubbish.
Of what happened between you and the
Councillor Walters.
I will say, from the Borough Council's point of view, Chairman, on this one, there has been the Code of Conduct training. Like I said just earlier, we've been on the GDPR training. Yes, there was a social media training session as well. And I do believe that the social media side of things is making a mockery of everything we're meant to be trying to do, because all it is fueling is arguments and backbiting. And that is not what we're here for.
No, we're here for the good.
And I'm fed up, personally, of hearing it all. I don't do WhatsApp. I haven't got a mobile phone. Anything I get comes through an email, and that's that. And I'm glad it's that way, because it's just getting ridiculous. And I don't want to sit here for hours on end listening to all this. I hope the monitoring officer puts them all in a room together, bangs their head together, they all shake hands, say sorry, and let's get on with the business we're meant to be doing, looking after the parishioners of this parish.
Chairman, I started this meeting by quoting from a very well-known lady, and I said Where there is dispute, let there be harmony.
Yeah. Right, Councillor Ward.
I'm just agreeing with Stuart Young. There's a lot of negativity on the social media. It's getting ridiculous. It's not only from councillors, it's from the family of the councillors, and I'm fed up with it myself.
Councillor Size, and final comment on this.
Basically agree with the last two comments. When people are using family members as well to try and circumvent or close friends, it is horrible. It is terrible, and it shouldn't happen.
Well, I'm sick of it all.
Thank you.
So, right, next item is schedule of council payment. So,
Move those, Chairman.
thank you. So, any comments? Have not passed them back to Sue. There's just an item on this, we've changed the way that we make payments, which is we're going to online auto pay rather than telephone banking, and Bar needs to sign a new agreement with two authorised signatories.
So when we pay our wages with the Royal Bank of Scotland, up to now it's been done on a telephone auto pay system. The Royal Bank of Scotland has shut that down from last week, so we have to do it as an online one. So it's the same thing rather than telephone.
Yeah.
They're altering their security system.
Will it be possible with the new system to buy services online?
This particular thing is just to set up to pay wages, that's all. We have a problem because our accounts are classed as treasurer's accounts, and that makes it difficult to, we're not allowed to do online banking because of that. Whether we want to look at trying to take that designation off to be able to do that, I don't know. The Finance Committee.
Yeah, we can look at.
Have a report been made to Finance Committee?
Yeah.
I can give you some more information on that because one of the ones that I deal with has changed.
Right, okay, so move on to AOB, any AOB, Councillor Gourlay.
I had a communication with Eileen Hayes, who is an active member of the Chapel Gardening Club, and this is just a message that she's had some communication back from the Parish Council concerning the plans on the corner of Longmead and Long Lane. And the feeling of the gardening club was that it was nothing to do with them. It was built at the same time as the estate, and they're essentially relinquishing any responsibility for this.
Councillor Young, did you have a comment?
Well, I was going to say it wasn't built as part of the estate.
Not at all.
Not at all. It was nothing to do. It was a gardening club. Now, whether it was the gardening club she belongs to, or whether it was a group of householders there that made their own little club, I don't know.
Chapel Gardening.
Well,
his wife has died this week, so it's
Right,
not a
okay,
good
Councillor Walters, please.
Is it true that it's 100 years for the park next year or something?
Communities Committee are looking at this.
The Communities Committee are looking at doing something.
Yeah, because I was going to say,
Well, it's in
is there
20.
something going on in the park?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at maybe doing something if I can in my Chapel community group.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have a chat.
Right, so right.
Yeah.
Chairman, it's in fact, I think 22, is it not? 22, when the park was officially first opened.
When you're benefacted, which is the important thing. When this guy, out of the good of his heart, gave us the park, is the significant thing.
The land deal changed.
So can we put that on the agenda for next meeting to...
Yeah, it's on the Immune Committee's agenda, so...
Right, yeah, I'm not going to be able to.
You can come. You can come, yeah.
You're welcome.
What are all the meetings to go to?
Can I briefly bring up the Coombs Reservoir disaster plan? I circulated an email, and it's been in the I newspaper, the Books advertiser, and today the BBC have picked up on it. That there's an awful lot of secrecy around this disaster plan. My problems with that secrecy is not that I'm against secrecy for good reasons. It's that the reasons for that secrecy in the past might have been to stop the local population being unduly worried about having a house next to a reservoir, plus the targeting of such large structures by terrorists. The problem that I have with that is that you can see from some of the standard parts that go into these plans that a lot of the information is already in the public domain, and yet it has been overly zealously redacted. And moreover, the parts that haven't been redacted, I can see errors and omissions in those plans. Could we as a council write to Derbyshire County Council and ask them to look again at their...
The information that I've received on that is that since the incident in Whaley Bridge, all the disaster plans are jointly being looked at by DCC and IP, the ones in this area. So there's work actively been going on for weeks already. Councillor Batterby.
On virtually the same day that Councillor Lewis sent that, there was an article in The Guardian. A similar request had been made to the Canal and River Trust. I don't know if they do Coombs Reservoir as well.
Yes.
And they're refusing on the grounds of any freedom of information request on the grounds that it would adversely affect national security and public safety. A spokesman for the Canal and River Trust said that given the sensitive nature of the inspection documents, following the Environment Agency's policy on disclosure in refusing to release them.
They're also a charity and don't have to disclose it.
I doubt very much whether you get them or you can have that Councillor Rose and give it to me.
Can I just make a quick comment? I remember down at Coombs being, in fact, I was woken at 3 o'clock in the morning by the Member of Parliament, a fellow called Spencer Le Marchant at the time, who warned me that in fact we might have to evacuate Tunstall Mill and so on. In fact, there was no need for that, and I was a member at the time of Rotary Club, and this is the diversion slightly, and one of the members in the Rotary Club was blamed for the incident as he jogged running to the side. It was very soon dealt with. I don't remember it being months before it was finally recurred. But actually that's not the most significant. In my time as Director of Housing, I had to empty Hayfield Rd completely because the lorry had overturned on the hill coming out and it was carrying low pressure gas which had gone into the sewers. And so Hayfield was completely emptied, and in fact people were taken, instead of to high school here, they were taken to New Mills. And similar things happened, except that I forgot a close load of people had been put up at the Outdoor Pursuit Centre until 3 o'clock in the morning when somebody rang me at home after lunch. I've been in bed a long time to say that they were still there. But that was my fault.
Yeah, right.
But in fact, the most serious things locally have been gas explosions.
Right, Councillor Seisman and Councillor Gourlay.
Okay. I noticed we were told in fairly uncertain terms at the training that we have to put everything that we get at this meeting has to go up at the same time on the website and that. Clearly there was some stuff missing, and Sue said we should discuss it at the meeting, but I think you
can't discuss it in any other business because we can't make a decision. We can discuss
right, it's just that yourself and the chairman were at that training meeting, and it was just everybody agreed with it. You know, it was like an instruction from the Derbyshire Association Council.
This council's agreed that it does not publicise draft minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
So the minutes you are asking to go with the agenda are still draft minutes, aren't they?
Right.
They don't get published
But
until they've
also-
been ratified.
But there's also a lot of information other than minutes. There's no reason
So the things that are on the website are the information that goes with the agenda?
Yeah, I mean for instance, it was minutes of subcommittees basically. There was the list of last month's payments, which is normal for everybody to put on.
What they've done they're already on the website.
But anyway, is that can we please put it on the next?
Yeah?
On the next thing, because we need to bring ourselves in line with the best practice.
Councillor Gourlay.
I just want to reply to Councillor Harrison's point about the the dam incident at Coombs,
Yeah.
the historic dam incident, in the disaster plan, it's got unredacted in the Derbyshire disaster plan for Coombs, historical incidents nil.
Historical
Incidents nil.
What's wrong? But there wasn't.
I know, that's what's worrying.
And in fact, the dam was emptied until the concrete wall was rebuilt.
Anybody got any press releases they want? No? Right, so...
Yes, we can now, can't we?
what?
Thinking about that, Joe. We can say we've got 2 new councillors.
Yeah.
Because we've done that tonight. We said we'd leave that until
Yeah,
we
right.
do what's it been the second council. So we can let the public know we have 2 new councillors on for
One
each
for
one.
east and one for west.
West, right.
In not the roles of the
Yeah,
council,
right,
one in east.
Right,
In
last
what
night
place?
there's no matters to be discussed in item 24, so 9:30 to declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much for your comments and attention.